Hello everyone, we are from the group 1. Today we want to present for the subject MC012 ESLB2153 for the Introduction to Language and Linguistics. Now I want to introduce my group members. We have Nuraini, Nur Aida, me as Narmata Sri, Kavisha and Rivalashini. Hi everyone, my name is Narmata Sri Dr. Chandrasekhar. Today I want to explain what is linguistics. Okay, linguistics is actually a scientific study of the language, which is the coverage, structure and usage, and then is explored into key areas such as phonetics, phonologies, morphologies, and syntax, semitext, and the pragmatics, which is understand how to understand the language is the function. In the language teaching, linguistics, which is educators' ability to explain about the grammar, pronunciation, and meaning of the effectively. And then now is we developing the teaching strategy, which is for the student linguistic background, we improving in the comprehensions and communication. By applying the linguistic principle, teacher can address the language learning challenge and the better formation for the learners. Now we see the introduction part for the introduction to language linguistics, which is a cover key area of the linguistics for understanding language structure and use, which is the phonetics and the phonology, which is the speech sound and the sound patterns, and then the morphology, which is the word formation. Syntax is the focus on the sentence structure. And then the semiotics is a meaning in the language, and the pragmatics is analyze language in the context. And then we also cover in the social linguistics, which is the language variation and the social influencer. And the psycholinguistics, which is the investigation language in the cognitive process. And this area provide a strong foundation of the language teaching and the learning. Now we see the second language learning theories, which is language learning is influenced by various theories, which is for the individual development in linguistic skills. Now we see the three major theories, which is behaviorism, cognitism, and constructivism, provide different perspectives on how the learners process and use the language. First, we see the behaviorism is the language is learned through the repetition and the enforcer. For example, in the classroom, teachers can use the way for the practice as a drill or exercise or positive enhancement to help the development language skill for the students. And then second is a cognitism, which is the language occupation is a link to the cognitive development, which is teachers should design the lesson that match students' ability and use, for example, use problem solving tasks, use for the discussion or critical thinking activity teacher can give to the students. And then the last one is a contract assessment, which is the learning occurring to the active of the skill for the students and the social interaction. And then teacher can apply the group work, real world application to enhance the language learning.
Good evening everyone, my name is Kavisha and I will be presenting phonetics and phonology definition. To understand the foundation of speech sounds, we need to determine between phonology and phonetics. Phonetics focuses on the physical aspects of speech sound, how they are made, heard, and transmitted. Think of it as the science of pronunciation. It studies individual sounds known as phonemes and how different speech organs like the tongue and vocal cords work together to produce them. Phonology, on the other hand, is more about in the system and the structure of sound in a language. It looks like at pattern, rules, and how sounds changes when used in words and sentences. Unlike phonetics, which deals with the actual sound, phonology focuses on how these sounds function in communication. For example, the words bat and pat differ by just one sound, but that tiny differences change the meaning entirely of the word. Now let's talk about how phonetics and phonology shape language. Phonetics plays a huge role in pronunciation. By analyzing how sounds are formed and heard, it helps us improve clarity in speech, stress patterns, and in intonations. It especially important for learning new languages and refining pronunciation. Phonology, however, goes a step further. It organizes these sounds into meaningful patterns. It determines why certain words are stressed differently and how sounds shift in different linguistic contexts. This helps in communication, language development, and even literacy skills like reading and spelling. Together, phonetics and phonology work hand in hand to help us speak clearly, understand others, and use language effectively. So, why are phonetics and phonology so important in education and communication? First, they help with pronunciation. Teachers can use phonetics technique to guide students on how to produce sounds correctly, which is especially useful for second language learners. Second, they improve listening skills. When students understand phonemes, they can determine between similar sounding words like ship and sheep, which prevents misunderstanding. They also enhance reading and spelling. By connecting sounds with letters, students can decode words more effectively and improve their fluency. Finally, these skills are useful for ESL learners. Many second language speakers struggle with pronunciation due to differences in their native language. A strong understanding of phonetics and phonology can boost their confidence and communication skills in speaking or learning. Teaching phonetics and phonology can be fun and interactive. Here are some great strategies that make learning engaging. One useful technique is minimal pair exercise, where students compare words that differ by just one word, like beep, beep. This sharpens their ability to recognize subtle differences in pronunciation. Another approach is tongue twister. We all know how challenging they can be, but they great at improving speech clarity and articulation. Lastly, phonemics drills involves playful activities like word games, I Spy games, and reading aloud. These drills reinforce phonological awareness while keeping students engaged. By using these strategies, teachers can make learning pronunciation and sound patterns more effective and enjoyable in the classroom for students. That's all from me. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. My name is Noraida Muhammad, and I will continue to present on our next slide, that is morphology and syntax. So let's get to know the definition first. Morphology is the study of how words are made and structured in a language. It examines morphemes, the smallest units of meaning, and how they come together to form words. Meanwhile, syntax is the study of how words are put together to make sentences in a language. It looks at the rules and patterns that guide how words and phrases are arranged to create clear and meaningful sentences. Next is the role of morphology in language structure. Like I explained just now, morphology is the study of how words are built. It looks at the smallest unit of meaning called morphemes and how they come together to form words. There are two types of morphemes. The first one is free morphemes. These are words that can stand on their own, like book or run. Second is bound morphemes. These need to be attached to another word. For example, un in untie or at in walked. So why is morphology so important? It helps us understand how words change in different ways. Like, for example, inflectional changes. This is when a word changes slightly but keeps its meaning. For example, run to running or cat to cats. Second, derivational changes. This is when a word changes and creates a new meaning, like happy to happiness or egg to egg. And compounding and blending. Some words are formed by combining two words like sunflower, sun plus flower, or brunch, that is breakfast, plus lunch. About syntax. What is the syntax role in language structure? Syntax is a set of rules that tells us how words and phrases should be arranged to make clear and correct sentences. There are three key parts of syntax. The first key part is phrases and clauses. These are groups of words that work together in a sentence. For example, noun phrase, that is like the words the black cat. Next example is verb phrase, that is running. Second key part is word order and agreement. In English, English, we usually follow the subject verb object order. For example, she reads book is correct. Reads she book is incorrect. Next is types of sentences. Sentences can have different purpose. For examples like declarative, that is a statement, like I like ice cream, or interrogative, a question, do you like ice cream? Or imperative, that is a command, eat your ice cream. And now we move on to our next slide, that is the benefits of morphology and syntax. First, improve grammar skills. Morphology helps us understand how words are formed, and syntax teaches us how to structure sentences correctly. When students learn this, they can use proper grammar in speaking and writing. Second benefit is enhance writing and speaking. Knowing sentence structures helps students form clear and correct sentences. This improves their ability to express ideas in both speech and writing. Next, it could makes learning a second language easier. Like for students learning English as a second language, understanding how words and sentences are built makes learning smoother. And lastly, boost reading comprehension. When students recognize word functions in a sentence, they can understand complex text more easily. So by learning morphology and syntax, students can improve their grammar, writing, speaking, and reading skills. Next is the strategies to teach morphology. First is morphemes awareness activity like word sorting. Students categorize words into free morphemes, stand-alone words like walk, and bound morphemes, prefixes or suffixes like ing in walking. Second, morpheme matching. That is, give students morphemes card like prefixes, roots, suffixes, so they can mix and match to form new words like un plus happy, unhappy. Second is inflectional verse derivation morphemes, like word building games. Students can play morphology bingo, where students can identify inflected words like dogs and derived words, happiness. They can also use sentence transformation, like students change words formed in a sentence. For example, she is happy or her happiness is evident. And the last strategy is compound words and blends, like puzzle pieces. A teacher can give students word half and let them form compound words like sun plus flower becomes sunflower. Word blends they can discuss common blended words like brunch is from breakfast plus lunch, smoke from smoke plus fork, and let student create their own. Just now we talk about teaching morphology. Now let's move on to teaching syntax. First, phrase and clause identification. For example, sentence diagramming. We use visual sentence trees to break down subjects, verbs, objects, and modifiers. Or color-coded syntax. Assign colors to parts of speech, like nouns use color blue, verbs use color red, to help students recognize patterns. And second, sentence structure and word order, where students can jumble sentence activity. Students can arrange a set of mixed up words into a correct sentence. And for example, there are to, she, school, goes. And student can sort it out to the correct sentence like she goes to school. Or sentence expansion. Start with a basic sentence like the cat sleeps, and let students expand it by adding adjective, adverbs, or clause. And finally, through subject-verb agreement and word function activity, like error correction tasks. Provide incorrect sentences for students to correct. For example, he go to school. The correct one actually is he goes to school. Or role-playing grammar structures. Assign student sentence roles like subject, verb, object, and have them physically arrange themselves in the correct order. These strategies make syntax more engaging and interactive. That is all from me. My friend will continue to the next slide. Thank you.
Hello everyone, my name is Norani Binti Raja. Now let's delve into two crucial areas of linguistics, which is semantics and pragmatics. Starting with semantics, we define it as the study of meaning in language. This field is essential for understanding how we convey and interpret meaning through words and sentence. There are three primary focus areas within semantics. Firstly, is lexical semantics. This involves the meanings of individual words and their relationship with one another. For example, understanding synonyms, antonyms, and homonyms help us grasp the nuance of language. Next will be the compositional semantics. Here we look at how meanings combine to form sentence. It's about understanding how the arrangement of words affect the overall meaning conveyed. Third will be pragmatic semantics. This area examines how context influence meaning. It highlights that the same word or phrase can have different meanings depending on the situation in which it is used. Now, moving on to pragmatics, which is the study of how context influence meaning in communications. Pragmatics help us understand that communication is not just about the words we use, but also about how those words are interpreted based on various factors. The key concept in pragmatics include speaker intent. This involves understanding what the speaker aims to convey beyond the literal meaning of their word. It helps us grasp the underlying message in conversation. The next will be social norms. These are the unwritten rules that govern language use in different social contexts. They affect how we communicate based on our relationship with others. Next will be implicator. This refers to indirect meanings that go beyond literal interpretations. For example, if someone says it's cold in here, they might be implying that they want a window closed rather than just stating a fact. And the last one will be thesis. These are context dependent words such as here or now, which require additional information to understand their meaning fully. In summary, both semantics and pragmatics are essential for effective communications as they help us navigate the complexities of meaning in language. Now let's explore the significant roles that semantics and pragmatics play in teaching vocabulary, meaning, and effective communications. Starting with semantics, it enhances word understanding in several ways. Enhance word understanding, where semantics help students grasp the meanings of words, including synonyms, antonyms, and relationships such as homonyms and polysemy. This foundational knowledge is crucial for building a robust vocabulary. Next will be promotes contextual learning. It encourages students to understand how word meanings can change depending on the context. For instance, the word bank can refer to a financial institution or the side of a river, depending on its usage. Uh, Next will be aids in sentence meaning construction, where the semantics teach how individual word meanings combine to create coherent sentence. This understanding is essential for students to construct meaningful statements and questions. And the next part will be reductionist interpretations by distinguishing between similar meanings with different use, like big versus large. Semantics help students avoid confusion and use words more accurately. Now let's shift our focus to pragmatics, which plays a vital role in effective communications. First, develop contextual awareness. Pragmatics teach students to use appropriate language based on social context, tone, and politeness. This skill is essential for navigating various social interactions successfully. Next will be teach a speed act. It enables students to understand indirect meanings in request, apologize, and compliment. For example, recognizing that saying, "Could you pass the salt?" is often a polite request rather than a mere question. Next will be improve conversational skills. Pragmatics encourage students to interpret implied meanings, sarcasm, or humor. This understanding is key for engaging in more nuanced conversations. Next will be enhanced cross-cultural communications. Finally, pragmatics help learners navigate cultural difference in language use. Understanding how language function in different cultural contexts fosters better communications across diverse groups. So both semantics and pragmatics are essential tools for teaching vocabulary and meaning effectively while enhancing overall communication skills. Now let's discuss the benefits of semantics in language learning and teaching. First, we have these ambiguations. Semantics plays a critical role in helping students distinguish between multiple meanings of words based on context. For example, the word bat can refer to a flying mammal or a tool used in sports. So, understanding the distinctions is essential for clear communications and comprehensions. Next, we have word relationships. Semantics enhance students' understanding of synonyms, antonyms, and collocations. This knowledge is vital for improving vocabulary use. For instance, knowing that happy is a synonym for joyful and an antonym for sad allows students to express themselves more precisely and enrich their language skills. Finally, let's talk about sentence interpretations, where the semantics assist students in understanding how word meanings combine to create coherent message. By grasping how different words interact within a sentence, students can better interpret and convey complex idea effectively. So the benefits of semantics are significant in helping students navigate the intricacies of language, thereby convincing their overall communication skills. Now, let's explore the benefits of pragmatics and how it enhances communication skills. First, pragmatics teach us how to interpret the implied meaning in communications. This means understanding message that aren't directly stated. For example, when someone asks, "Can you open the window?" They're not just questioning your ability. Instead, it's understood as a polite request for action. These skills is essential for organizing indirect communication in everyday conversations. Next, pragmatics help us recognize different speech acts, which refer to the various functions language can serve. For instance, when we say something like, "I'm sorry," we are apologizing. Saying, "Could you pass the salt?" is a request, or when we say, "Great job," we are giving a compliment. Understanding speech acts helps us respond appropriately in different social situations. Finally, pragmatics help interpret datic expressions. These are words that rely on context for meaning. Let's think of words like here, there, now, or then. Without context, these terms are unclear. For example, I'll meet you there tomorrow. To understand this fully, you need to know where there is and when tomorrow refers to. So by understanding the daisies, we can follow conversation more accurately and respond appropriately. In summary, pragmatics sharpen our ability to understand indirect communication, recognize different speech function, and interpret context dependent language. These skills are essential for effective and meaningful communication in everyday life. Thank you. Next will be strategies to integrate semantics and pragmatics. First is the context-based vocabulary learning, where we use context clues to teach word meanings instead of isolated memorizations. For example, we can provide sentence where students infer meanings of new words. Next will be role-playing conversation, where students act out social situation, for example, making requests, apologizing, and refusing politely. For example, the student can learn how to practicing formal versus informal greetings, such as "Hello, sir," and the informal one, which is "Hey, what's up?" Finally, teaching implicator and indirect meaning, where we help students understand implied meaning in conversation. For example, it is cold in here could mean close the window, but we didn't say it directly. We say it in indirect meaning. Thank you.
So good day everyone. So today I'm going to present about psycholinguistic and sociolinguistic definition. So when it comes to psycholinguistic is the study of how human acquired, process, comprehension and also produce language. So it explores the cognitive and neurological mechanism involving in language learning, memory and speech production. So the field combines insight from linguistics, psychology and neuroscience to understand how individuals develop linguistic abilities and also interpret meaning and use language in communication. To sociolinguistics, it's a study of how language is influenced by social factors which are culture, identity, class, gender, and region. So it examines language variation, code switching, and how people use language in different social contexts. So this helps to understand the relationship between language and society, highlighting how the communication adapts based on social interaction and environment. We are going to look at the benefits of psycholinguistic and sociolinguistic. So the first benefit will be enhanced language teaching. So psycholinguistic help educators understand how students acquire and process language, and enabling them to design effective teaching strategies. But sociolinguistic aids in recognizing language variation and adapting instruction to different linguistic background. So the second benefit will be improve communication skills. So psycholinguistic explain how individuals comprehend and produce language, while sociolinguistic highlight how social context influence language use and enhancing effective communication. The third benefit will be support for multilingualism. So psycholinguistic provides insight into second language acquisition, while sociolinguistic explores code switching and language contact, helping multilingual learners navigate different language smoothly. So the last benefit will be better understanding of language development. So psycholinguistic examine cognitive process in language learning, aiding in diagnosing and support students with speech or language disorder. Now we are going to look at the strategies to integrate psycholinguistic and sociolinguistic. So the first one will be contextualize language learning. So teacher can use the real life stimulation, role playing and storytelling in the classroom activities to help the student apply English in a practical situation, making them understand the learning more engaging and also more meaningful. So the second one will be code switching awareness. So teachers can encourage discussion on how and when the switch between language, helping them to develop their confidence in using their English talking while valuing their multilingual identity. So this can be done through by group discussion, debates, and also analyzing bilingual advertisements and media. So the last one will be inclusive and culturally responsive teaching. So teacher can incorporate Malaysian culture elements, local stories, and familiar contact into English lesson to make the learning more interesting and relatable. So the activities like comparing delicates, discussing cultural expression and using multilingual teaching aids that can be created and creative and inclusive classroom environment. Last part will be implication in Malaysian education. So linguistic knowledge help address students' linguistic challenges and improve their English proficiency in Malaysia, where their first language like Malay, Tamil, and Chinese influence learning. So understanding phonetics aid pronunciation, while morphology and syntax enhance grammar instruction. When it comes to sociologists, help teacher manage language variation and code switching, making the lesson more effective. So psycholinguistic and second language acquisition theories support strategies tailored to diverse learning style. By applying linguistic principles, teachers can boost their students by having their confidence, accuracy, and fluency, preparing them to the academic and real world communication.
Now we are at the conclusion part, which is the linguistics is a language, a powerful tool for the English teacher. It helps us improve students' pronunciations, grammar, and communication by understanding how the language works. Instead, from the socialistic and the psychology is allowed to us to design the lesson that match with the students. By applying the linguistic principle, we can create, engage, and escape learning experience with the children. In a short, understanding linguistics make us better teacher and help students become confident in the English speakers. Thank you.